Today I'm talking about how I keep Christ at the center of my marriage. I received that request. I'm going to share to the best of my ability how me and my husband keep Christ at the center of our marriage. First and foremost, the way that we keep Christ in the center of our marriage is that we keep Christ in the center of our lives. A big factor in what I'm talking about is that both my husband and I were Catholic when we met each other. We were both devout Catholics, practicing our faith to the best of our ability, trying to follow the Lord. Those factors also deeply contribute to the fact that Christ is at the center of our marriage. If you are married to someone that doesn't have faith or is Protestant or some other religion, it's gonna look different than my marriage. I specifically chose to marry someone that was Catholic. Not that I wouldn't have married someone that wasn't, but I was looking specifically for someone that was Catholic. My husband and I met through a Catholic young professionals group Christmas party. We both had mutual Catholic friends that introduced us to each other. So that was a really big factor. We surrounded ourselves around other Catholics. We were already active in our faith. We were already pretty convicted. That is why it has been somewhat effortless for us to keep Christ at the center of our marriage, even though 100% we could do better. And I hope to God that 10 years from now, I can say that, our lives are much more centered around Christ than they are today. I do think because we already had our own faith practices, because my husband and I don't want to create any kind of delusion around our relationship. We don't pray together all that much. We pray at every meal together. We've been doing a rosary once a week as a family together, but most of my prayer life and most of his prayer life are actually separate. I don't think there's really anything wrong with that. I don't feel like God's convicting me or him to do more. The only thing I was feeling convicted about was making sure we were getting a regular rosary in as a family, because I do my rosary every day with Teddy and I just make sure it gets done. When we were dating, my husband and I prayed the rosary at least once a week together. And then in our marriage, we really weren't. So that was something that we've recently been implementing. Every Sunday, we pray the rosary together as a family because it is our family day and we're always together. So we just find time in that day to pray the rosary. So that has been a new thing that we're implementing that I'm so grateful for. And I know the graces that will come of it are really beautiful. What I love about my husband is that he already has a relationship with the Lord, and he actually inspires me and convicts me in different things. And he's convicted in some things, like he wears a brown scapula every day. I was wearing a miraculous medal, but it broke off my neck, and then I was wearing a brown scapula, but I wore it in the shower and then it disintegrated. I don't know. I have such bad luck with wearing jewelry. The only thing that I've ever really been able to keep on is my wedding band and my engagement ring, and my wedding band right now, because I'm 32 weeks pregnant, doesn't fit anymore. So my engagement ring is the only piece of jewelry that I really been able to wear consistently every day and not had an issue with it. We both have our own faith practices that we like to participate in. My husband does the Pieta prayer book. He does certain prayers every night. I do the Litany of Humility every night, as well as some family prayers that I like to, prayers for families, prayers for pregnant mothers, and prayers to Our Lady of Charity that I do every night. But we do them together. We're doing it at the same time. We're just not doing it with each other. We're doing our own thing. One thing I do love about my husband also is that he's very convicted in going to confession regularly, which I really love. I love confession, and if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't go as often as I do. And we will go as a family, and sometimes I don't feel like I really need to go to confession if it's been only a week or two. So I'll go to adoration and he'll go into confession, and we take our son, and I'll either take my son to adoration with me or my husband will keep him when he goes to confession so that I get some quiet time. For us, for my marriage, I think the biggest thing is that we both encourage each other and also convict/challenge each other to keep up with our faith practices, because each of us are striving to be close to the Lord and keep the Lord at the center of our life. We encourage the other person through our actions. More than anything, our actions and the habits we choose and the behaviors we're doing encourage each other to step up our game as Catholics and to step up our game to make sure that Christ is at the center of our life. Another thing we do, which most people would assume is a given, we go to church every Sunday as a family together. My husband has a crazy work schedule. A lot of times, would it be more convenient for me to go without him? Yes, but I think it's so important to go together as a family. Now, obviously, there's exceptions. There are people with different circumstances, but for our family, it is very important for me and for Matt, for us all to go together as a family. We make that a huge staple in our life. We don't have kids in sports or anything like that, so we don't really have to worry about scheduling as far as that's concerned right now. In our family, we always put God and and church as the number one priority. We plan the social thing around our church schedule. I don't plan my church schedule around the social thing. Those are the ways that we keep Christ at the center of our marriage. I would love to hear how you're keeping Christ at the center of your marriage. My husband and I have only been married for 2 years, as of soon to be 2 years. April 9th will be 2 years that we're married. We haven't been married that long. We've been together 4 years as of May 26th, 2023. These are the ways that we keep Christ at the center. And I think the fact that we're both striving for holiness, we're both striving to love the Lord and serve the Lord and be the best versions of ourselves, that it really just has always helped our relationship. I share, like, we waited for marriage even though I wasn't a virgin. I have a video that I'll link in the description box below that talks about that. Advice I have for singles that I think would be helpful if you're single and you're curious about how I made Christ the center of my life, because I think it's the most important thing is figuring out how to put God at the center of your life. And when you put God at the center of your life, He inevitably is going to be the center of everything in your life, including your marriage. If you have specific prayer intentions for me, I'm happy to pray for you. I know that people have different walks with God, different situations in their marriages, and I'm happy to be praying for your marriages. It is so important to be praying for each other. I pray every day for everyone that watches these videos, subscribes to this channel and my other YouTube channel. I hope this video helped